Hey, thanks for joining me to color. Today we're going to be working on this adorable saturated canary image called Morning. This will be for the Color Wednesday blog post for March 9th, 2016. I will put a link down in the description box to the adorable image if you would like to head over and grab one and color along with me. I have printed my image out on Nina 80-pound solar white cardstock. So let's color. So let's start out by doing her skin. For that, we're going to use E11, E21, E00, and E50. And for her cheeks and her lips, I'm going to use R02, R12, and R11. So let's see if we can get a little bit closer. And let's start down here on her one little leg that's got some skin showing. And for that, I'm going to start with my E11. And I'm just going to take my E11 and flick away from the inside of her leg, out here a little bit into her skin. And then I'm going to follow that up with E21. And I always touch down a little bit on the last color that I used. And then we'll go with E00. And then I'm going to just swipe over the entire thing with my E50. E50's got a little bit of a yellow tone to it, and I'm kind of liking it, so I've added it into my coloring this week. Okay, then let's go up here and we'll again start with E11, and I'm going to do her hand. And she has a little bit of her hand showing over here, so I'm going to do a little dab right next to her robe and underneath her sleeve. And then for this hand, let's go right along her bottom of her hand and her wrist here and up next to her sleeve. And then I'm going to go with E21. I'm going to fill this side in. And then we just want to brush this color up a little bit. And I'm going to do a little dab on each of these little fingers that are showing. And then I'm going to go with E00, and I'm going to go ahead and just color the rest of her fingers in, and then bring this up, and then take my E50 and fill in the entire thing. I want to use this completely over the entire area, and down here on this little hand too. Okay, then let's go up here and we'll work on her face and her neck. So again, we're going to start with E11. And I want to go down this side of her neck and under her chin. I'm going to do her collarbone right here. And then we're going to go around her hair and down this side of her robe. And then I'm going to add E21. And we're just going to do a little bit of that. And a little swipe on her collarbone. And then E00. And then I'm going to go over the entire thing with E50. And then I'm going to go again with E11 first. And I'm going to say the light's going to be shining kind of from this direction over here. So I'm going to make my shadow on her hair be right along here. And then down the side of her face. Over here to her chin. And then you want to do inside of her ear. And inside this ear. Then I'm going to add E21. So I'm going to go down this side of her face. And inside of her ear. And I'm going to do a little bit here on the outside. And then I want to brush on this little line that I did with my E11. Next we're going to add E00. And I'm not worried that it's not blending because we're going to go over it after we add our cheek color again. And then I'm going to take my E50 and go across her face and her ear. And then we're going to add our cheek color. So I've grabbed R02. And there's not going to be too much over here, so I'm just going to kind of dab it right along her hairline here. And then over here, I'm going to pull a little bit further into her face. And then we'll go with R12. And again, just a little bit on this side. And soften the edge over here. And then R11. And then I'm going to go with E00 I want to soften some of these lines here, so we're going to go right over this and over her cheek. And I'm going to do a little dab underneath of her nose. I'm going to do her ears again too. And then I'm going to go over the entire thing with E50. And I think I'll add a little bit more pink to this side. So I'm going to go with R02. And then let's do starter lips too. So let's do a little bit of R02 here in the corners. And then R12. A little bit to our lips. And then R11 to soften this cheek a little bit and fill in the rest of her lip. And then E50 to go over this cheek on the edges. Now I'm going to add some G21 to her eye. So this side's got a little bit of a ring around the outside here. So I'm going to do that, but I want to leave a little white spot here at the bottom. And it's really small, so you want to, or well, mine is, since I printed it out pretty small. So I'm going to use just the tip of my pen. And then over here, there's not really a line, so I'm just going to use the bottom of this black section, and then again leave that little white dot there at the end. Then for her hair, I'm going to use E44, 43, and 42. I'm going to start with my E44. And let's go ahead and start over here on this side. So add a few little streaks over here and on this little section. And then right here where it's going behind, I'm going to pull a little bit of color in there. And then this one where it's wrapping around. And I bring that color up here underneath the wrapping. And then up here it's still wrapping, and I'm going to follow the line that the artist put on here for me. And let's see. Then up here where it's coming out from behind her hair, let's give it a little bit of color up here. And then behind her ears. And then this little section here looks like it's coming out from behind. And then let's do her part. Okay, that looks good on that side. So let's go over here and do this side. So she's got a little bit of hair poking out right here. And then this one, we're just going to work our way up. And then again, she's got a little section here that's behind her cheek. And I'm going to follow this line on the curve right here. And then I want this color to come up and close to her ear. And then we'll add a little bit behind this ear where it's coming out from behind. And here it dips back, so I'm going to add some in there. And I'm trying not to touch her ear. And let's do this little section that's coming out from behind. And then her part. And I think I'll do this little section right here that looks like it's kind of going from behind. Okay, then I'm going to go with E43 next. So I just want to add some more color on top of that and bring it up. So we're just going to work our way back around to the other side. And I try to keep my streaks going in the direction that the hair is falling. I'll go over here and do this side. Little sections down here. And then I'm going to go with E42 next. And you can fill it all the way in, or you can leave some white areas on there too. That looks really cool if you can make it look good. Usually I can't make that look that great, so I usually end up filling it all the way in. And these little sections right down here. Then I'm going to go back with my E44 and add just a little bit more of the dark at some of these tips. Just a little bit in there. For a robe, I'm going to use R22, R20, and R00. So I'm going to start with my R22. And let's start over here on her sleeve. So go down her sleeve, and I'm going to give her elbow a little color right there. And then I want to come up from the bottom for elbow. And then let's do the V inside here. And then over here on this side, going to turn my girl here a little bit. I'm going to flick away from the fold over of her robe. And I didn't worry about any of those dots that are on there. Next we're going to go with R22. And then R00. I'm going to go back with my R22, or sorry, R20. We're going to add a little bit more color. I think I'll have a little dab of my R22 right here in this, there's a little crease right there. And then we'll add R20 on top of that. And then we'll go with our R00 again over the entire area. Let's swirl it over here. Kind of smush these colors together a little bit more. And push some of that color back. And then we're going to go over here and do this side. So again, I'm going to start with my R22. And let's do right next to her sleeve. And then up along the edge of her robe. And I'm going to do this little crease from her arm. And then we want to go underneath at this accent piece on her robe. And I'm going to go along her hand. Then, right in here, let's go right next to the coffee cup and down her sash and around her little sleeve. And then for over here, I'm going to do inside that coffee cup handle, and then around the cup and down along the sash. And right here's a little wrinkle, so I'm going to go inside that. And then I want to bring this color in on this side. Oops. I'm going to go ahead and do a line like this first, so I don't have to worry about coloring outside the lines. I can touch down on top of that line and then brush my color out this way. It makes it a little bit easier. So once I get red on stuff, I just cannot get that off. And then I'm going to add R22. Or sorry, R20. I'm going to go over this crease. And let's brush this way. Kind of soften this edge. And I'm not worried about it not blending because we're going to go back again. And down the edge of her arm. And then I take R00 and just brush over the entire area. End of her robe. And up in here into these other colors, get those kind of damp. And then I'm going to go back with my R20 again. And just get some more color on there. And then again, swirl over the whole thing with my R00. And then we're also going to use these colors down here on her socks. So I'm going to go with R22. And I went down each of these cute little lines that are already on her sock. And then down here she's got a little wrinkle. Right here's a little wrinkle. And go underneath that. And we'll just go down the back side of her sock. And then right here, let's do along this line. And then we're going to bring this color around to this side of her sock. And then do these little wrinkles and underneath of her foot. Okay, and then over here, I'm just going to go ahead and fill this little section in right there. And then I want to go underneath of her robe. And then again down each of these little lines. And then I'm going to do the bottom of her sock and back up here to the little heel part. I'm going to grab R20. And we're going to brush right over the top of that last color. And again, I'm not worried about it blending because I'm going to go back over it with a second time. I'm just putting some color down. And then I'll go with R00. And again, I'm just going to swirl over the entire sock. And then we'll add a second coat of our R20. And then our R00 again to go over the entire thing. this time I'm going to fill in the heel over sock on this side with my R00. For the accents on a robe and her pajamas, we're going to use YG11, YG01, and G40. I'm going to start with YG11 up here on her collar. Let's go right along the bottom of her collar and up these little lines. Same over here. I'm going to go underneath her hair, and then we'll go along the bottom, and then up each of those little lines. And for a sleeve, let's do right along here. And I'm just a little dab on each of those lines again. Same for this side. And then for a sash, let's go underneath the cup, and this side in on the inside, and on this one, the outside. And then for her robe, or for her pajamas, I'm going to go right along the edge of her robe, and then go down each of those lines again. Then I'm going to add YG01. I'm going to brush right over the top of that last color, bring it up just a little bit. And then I'll finish it off with my G40 by just going down the edge and filling the rest of my white in. I'll give it a second coat. It's kind of looking kind of blotchy. For her newspaper, let's use W6, 3, and 0. I'm going to start with my W6, and let's add a little bit of shadows in there. So right here where the newspaper kind of comes together, I'm going to add a little bit. And over here on this side where the newspaper is kind of squishing together. And then I'm going to do a little dab on these little lines, just a few little quick little dashes. And let's do the bottom side of our paper. And then I'm going to go with W3, and I just want to soften the edge of each of those W6 lines. And then I'm going to take my W0 and just go over the entire thing. Okay, let's do this little pom-pom down here. For that I'm going to use W0, and I'm just going to bounce my pen up and down a few times and give it a little bit of shadow in there. Then we're going to hop up here and do this cup. For that I'm going to use W2, 1, and 0. I'm going to start out with my W2. And let's go down this side of her cup and underneath of her hand. And I better do a little dab over here underneath this little lip. And then we'll go with W1. Brush a little bit more color. And then W0. We'll just bring that all the way across. And then I wanted it to have a little decoration on there, so I'm going to use my Spica red glitter pen, and I'm going to give it a little heart on my cup. So I'm just going to go down and up, and then widen it out by going over it a second time. Give it a little heart. So there's our beautiful morning image all colored up. Didn't she turn out great? If you would like to see the finished card, head over to the blog on March 12th of 2016, and I have that posted on there, the card that I finished. And I didn't give her an outline this time because I'm going to cut her out and stick her on my card. If you have a question, leave me a comment and I will get back to you. Otherwise, I hope you had fun coloring with me today, and we'll see you next time. Have a great day. Bye.